Welcome to the Modern Indian History Lecture series. In this lecture, we are going to take part 6 of chapter 4, British Economic Policies in India. So, within the topic, we are going to discuss like how the Industrial Revolution will start, what made the people to trigger the Industrial Revolution, like what was the background for it. Okay, so what policies that British acquired, how were they treating the other foreign goods, what kind of exploitation was going throughout the country, and how they were getting the benefit from it. All those things we are going to discuss under this lecture. So first, the commercial policy. As we have seen that the British policy, that this lecture has been taken from the Bipin and in that chapter, in that topic, the period was given 1757 to 1857. We will see that the 1857 will be the revolt period, and during that it was one of the largest revolt since the struggle for the peasants, merchants, landlords, and also all were united together and they raised voice against the British, but they lost it. Okay, so all those things we are going to discuss in the coming sessions. So, commercial policy. If we see like from the 1600 to 1757, like to till this period, like from this it has been started till this period, British East India Company was merely a trading company. Okay, it was merely a trading company for it, and they were merely interested in doing the business with India. Okay, after that we'll see that they will start having interest into the administration for the country. Okay, administration for the country. So it profit came merely from the sale of Indian goods during that period, like whatever the business they were doing. So the main profit that they were getting were from the Indian goods. Okay, and naturally it tried to set up the new market for the India and Britain and other countries. Thus, Indian rulers tolerated and even encouraged the establishment of the factories into the India. So, what was the reason? What happened? A British East India Company came into India merely as a trading company. Okay, and what this company was doing, that this company was giving a platform a platform for the businessman for the businessman into a foreign land. Okay, and they were getting benefit from it. So why they should stop? If you are doing a great business, if you are earning a profit, so why someone will restrict it? Okay, so that's why British East India Company was giving full privilege under the India for doing the business and all. Further, what benefit was going to the British when Britishers were buying the cotton products, mainly it was related to the cotton products, textiles and all. They were in very good quality. They had a very good quality, and further they were in cheap price. Okay, so what happened? Whatever the products were being imported, from India to Britain, it was sold very fast and they were earning a huge profit under it. Okay, they were earning huge profit under it. Thus, British East India Company also interested to do the business with India. Okay, now what happened that British East India Company was mainly one company. Okay. Now they were selling the product in Britain. Okay. Now they were selling the product in Britain. Now in Britain there were numbers of other merchants there. Merchant 1, Merchant 2, and Merchant 3. Now what happened? These merchants were getting jealous. Okay, these merchants were getting jealous because they had the product of their own origin. Okay, or from other part, let suppose, or not from India, from the other parts. But in the market, British East India Company had a good control, and the people were loving that product, loving the Indian products. Thus, these other merchants were getting impacted from it, and they started to raise voice against it. And due to that, certain restrictions were imposed by British Parliament and all. And we all have seen in the previous lectures like how the Regulations Act and all were imposed under it. Okay, so that was the whole story behind the policies and all. Okay, so we'll go through one by one. So Indian so so they tried to set up a new market. They tried to set up a new market for India in Britain and other countries. Thus, Indian rulers also tolerated them and even encouraged the establishment of the company's factories in India. Okay, why? Because they were also getting the profit under it. Okay, so why someone will try to stop those things? Okay, if you are earning a profit, it's good. So they flooded the British market with the Indian goods, as I have just told, and thus British manufacturers were jealous of Indian goods, other British manufacturers apart from British East India Company. So they pressurized the British government to restrict and prohibit the sales of Indian goods in England. Okay. So by 1720, laws had been passed forbidding the wear or use of printed or dyed cotton clothes. So if you see a lady bought a handkerchief and she was forced to pay 200 pound fine for buying that handkerchief. Okay. Heavy duties were imposed to the plain clothes of Indian goods, not dyed and all. Okay. Plain one as in the form of resources. Okay. Not in the form of finished product. Okay. So heavy duties were taken from the Indian goods. So what happens when heavy duty is taken? Let us suppose there is a Indian product. Okay, Indian product I1. Okay, and there is a British product B1. Let us suppose this is a pen, and this is also a pen of same quality. Okay, now when the Indian pen will go into the Britain. Okay, let us suppose its price, it is very cheap for them. Okay, because cotton products were cheap for them, so they will sell it into 9 rupees. Okay, now when the British pen will be sold in the market, because they will have a price of rupees 11, because they are not getting that pen at a cheap cost. Okay, but in India it was like for the cotton product, they were growing it at a cheap price. Okay, so that's why they were selling the cotton product. Let us suppose here is a pen at rupees 9, and the British were selling the pen rupees 11. Now what happened? The people will buy which pen? The people will buy 9 rupees pen. That's why, to protect the domestic market, British government applied import duty, heavy import duty on Indian products. Now, let us suppose with this example pen, let us suppose British government said like you have to pay 5 rupees import duty on every pen. Okay, so now what happened? Now, what will the price of this pen? Now, the price of this Indian product pen will be rupees 14. Okay, and the price of the British pen will be the rupees 11 only. Now, people will buy rupees 11 pen, not the rupees 14 pen. If someone is like, I want to buy Indian product, I will buy Indian product, but it will like the people will go mostly to the cheaper product. Okay, so that kind of economics activity is used to happen to protect the domestic product, or the flooding of the external manufacturing product is something called as the dumping. Okay, that all we will study in economic section. Okay, so this was whole scenario. So British government import applied heavy duties on the uh, imported products. Okay, import. So heavy import duties was there. Other European countries did the small things like except Holland, other countries also applied certain kind of import duties. In spite of these laws, until and unless English industries get developed on the basis of new advanced technologies, Indian silk and cotton textile were in demand for the foreign market. So until and unless the industrialization didn't come, till that time, even after the heavy import duty, Indian cotton textiles and were like cotton and silk textiles were in demand. Okay, were in demand in the foreign market. Now, what was the consequence of Battle of Plassey? Battle of Plassey had consequence that we'll see directly impacting with the Industrial Revolution. Okay, so what happened? What happened? Company started to use its political control over the Bengal to acquire the monopolistic control over Indian trade and production. It utilizes the revenues of Bengal to finance its export to Indian goods, and they started to dictate prices for selling the goods even at a loss. So now what happened? They raised the price of the Indian goods from the market. And now what happens due to that? They restricted the handicraft, Indian handicrafts to work, and the wages, the people were forced to work with the British industrial workers, and even they were working at a cheap price. Okay, so now what happened? Indianization was hampered. Okay, so the domestic market was hampered. They were not earning good wages, and at the end, the domestic market get collapsed. Okay, so that was because the British had control over the Bengal due to the after the Battle of Plassey. Okay, the Bengal finance was completely weak for the Indian people. So they started to dictate prices for the selling of goods. They started to tell the price that you can sell this product at this price only, even if it is at loss. Let us suppose from this example, let us suppose a pen is cost rupees 10, and British is telling no, you can't sell this pen at rupees 10. You have to sell this pen at rupees 5 only. Okay, now what happened at rupees 5? When they are selling at rupees 5, this will what happen, they are having a loss of rupees 5. Okay, now they will have a loss of rupees 5, and they are, British government is telling, we don't care, you have to sell this pen at loss price, otherwise you have to incur the loss. Why they are doing so? To make the merchant at loss side, so that they will leave the market and they will join the British government industries and all. Okay, that was their main motive. So laborers were forced to work under the company at lower wages and forbidden to work under the Indian merchants. Companies eliminated these rivalries, both Indian and foreigners, and prevented them from offering higher wages or prices to the Bengal handicrafts. It was like companies did not allow other foreigners to trade with the India, like French and all. And further, within the countries also, they were not allowing the workers to work with the Indian merchants. Okay, sale of raw cotton was monopolized. Sale of raw cotton was, it was like British can only import the Indian product, Indian cotton resource, and at heavy duty, like that. And further, when the British product were being imported into India, it was at very cheap cost. Okay, so what was happening? What was happening? They were importing their own product at cheap, like it was at profit only, it was profit only, and they asked their own product to be at high cost, sometimes when they have to incur the loss as well. Okay, so it was just to break their market, it was just to break their static constants that they had in the market, just to break it, so that they will have a control of the market and people will start to buy British product. Okay, so it was sold at expensive prices to the weaver. Thus, the weaver lost both ways, as buyer and as seller. Okay, as buyer they have to purchase cotton at higher cost. Why? Because cotton was monopolized, it was came under the control of British. And further, as a seller they were not allowed to sell at profit amount, they were allowed to sell at a cheap cost. They have to incur the loss. So at the both end they were at loss. At the same time, Indian textiles had to pay heavy duties on entering the England. So as like trader also, as a trading for the foreign products and all, for, they were at loss. So at all the field, or at all the section within the country also, they were at the loss for the both side, for the selling and the buying of the product at the both in much as much lost. Further, exporting their product to the Britain, they were at loss, and they were not allowed to do the business with other rivalries like such as the French and all. Okay, so this was all about in this lecture. In the next lecture, we are going to jump into the industrial revolution and all. Okay, I hope you have liked this video. Please like and subscribe. This is a new channel. We really need your support. Thank you.